Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Lyra and Lily with Angela. The last 2 days have kind of been really big days for me. It's definitely been a journey. So yesterday evening, around 10:30, 11 o'clock, was the anniversary of my foster mother passing. Every year this is the 15th year this year, I have just been a mess. It's also the same day as my sister's birthday, and so I've never been able to actually be there for her. This year I struggled again, just to actually physically see her, but we've been talking, and I made her a present and a card, and I'll be giving it to her, and I've just been super honest with how I felt with everything. So the reason I also mentioned 2 days ago, is on the 20th. It was just, I could feel it coming, it's like the melancholy starts to take over just a little bit. I've been actually doing really good this year. And the evening of the 20th, I inhaled some weed. I was smoking out of a weed pipe that I do sometimes. I just smoke it out of, and it didn't have, a netting in it to catch any small particles, and I'd gotten this pre-roll from the dispensary, and so I put it in there because I really like that one. It's really smooth. And when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this is kind of might come through. And so I took my first one, and it was fine, but I made sure to do it really small. And then the second one, I took a bigger puff off of it. And actually, I got a bunch of weed particles. Actually in my lungs. It had gone into my lungs. And instantly my body starts trying to cough it out, and it's just getting really mucousy, and so I started coughing, and I'd just eaten too, so I started heaving, and then one thing led to another. I started throwing up, and as I was throwing up, I got a piece of food stuck in my throat, literally right where the part you breathe from is, wherever that is. I don't know, and I know it's inside the trachea, but there's a little flap or something that you breathe through, and a piece of food got stuck right there, and I couldn't breathe, and I started to panic, and I realized to myself, this is how my mom died, almost exactly, and so I really, really started to panic, and I was really scared. I could feel my face starting to swell, and so I just started trying to puke more, and I got it out, but then I couldn't stop puking. And then at this time too, I had also been coughing a lot because my body is trying to push out the pieces of marijuana, and I just eventually, I puke as much as I want to puke, and all of a sudden, like, I get at least enough out of my lungs that I can stop coughing. And I remember just taking breaths, each breath, and realizing, my mom didn't get to take another breath. She did not survive. And it just traumatized me so bad. And that's kind of why I'm emotionally disconnecting from it when I'm telling you guys this right now, just a little bit, because it's inexplainable. And so that night I went down to the wharf and stuff, and I was, I needed a distraction, and I had my friends and stuff down there, and I had a really lot of amazing conversations that just helped me understand and helped me let go. And I went to bed on the evening of the 20th, and I woke up 21st, and I let myself sleep in like a lot. Actually, ironically, my neighbor woke me up. And it took a lot of time on the 21st. Once I woke up, I did not smoke any weed, and until I went to the wharf that evening. But I took my teddy bear and I wrapped him in my sweater, and I started listening to, like, I Hope You Dance and You Can't Fight the Moonlight, and just like all these different things that just reminded me of my childhood, of when she was alive, at least the songs. And the most beautiful thing happened as I was dancing. All of a sudden, what's it called? I was swaying with my teddy bear, and then, I don't know if it's just a certain way I moved, but all of a sudden, I had a memory of my mom holding me and swaying with me like that. And then all of a sudden, they all just came back. All of my memories that I remember when I remembered her smile. I thought that was like the biggest thing in the world. Or her voice telling me, telling my sister that we're just going over some bumps because she broke her arm on my birthday. Now I remember it all. Maybe I can't pull them up exactly just yet. But they're there. I can feel them again. I can feel 9 years of emotions. I can feel their presence, and that for me is the most beautiful thing ever, because I only had such few memories of her, and the only thing that was honestly really helping me remember her was the love she gave me and the love she taught me to have for others and myself. And I've been living with such lack of memories that, especially in my points in time where I've really struggled with being really hurt, and literally that love, her pure essence has almost felt like a lucid dream at times, where it almost didn't happen, and they all came back yesterday, 21st. All my memories came back, the emotions, the feelings, and it's gonna take some time it's definitely going to take some time. And, I realized I don't mind if memories slowly come out over the years. I'm just glad I can feel them there. My heart literally just like I didn't even realize if there's a big hole in my heart missing, because I felt it, but I didn't want to admit it. I was in denial about it. Now, the biggest thing I can say, sorry guys, I also did just wake up, so another, I guess I jinxed myself. Another thing, as I was down on the wharf again last night, and I was thinking about it, and I mean, I know we had a double full moon and stuff like that, and I did a lot of work on myself the last 3 years, but you know what? I realized the thing that was the most healing thing, and that probably after 15 years gave me the ability to process it and let it go, was this was the first year in 15 years that I had a safe space to process it. Last year I was in a relationship around this time, or things were going on and off, so I didn't have any emotional space to process it, and so it just came out in sadness. The year before that, I wasn't living alone. The year before that, I also wasn't living alone, but I was in a really traumatic relationship. And, and then before that, I go back to every anniversary up back into 2006. And I was either never alone or I was in a traumatic situation. And this was the first year I had my own place, my own safe space, just to sleep in as long as I needed to take a bath, to feed myself, to watch some TV, to dance by myself, and most importantly, to cry. And by having that, for me, a big part of it, I definitely will agree with it's the people in my life as well right now. I do have some really good people in my life, and that does help. They really have. They've softened my rough exterior, if you could say it like that, and definitely helped me start the process of feeling vulnerable again, just even by just holding space for me as a person, and being kind to me. And it's exactly what I needed. And I don't know, I just, when I wake up today, I feel good, and especially big thing is the month of August has always been the one month that I've always had like a little Eeyore cloud, and it just normally the pain and just the darkness of that month just usually consumes me, and this year is the year that I've been almost able to most freely express myself, and I felt safe expressing myself, crying, and just being vulnerable. I realized that, there were only bits and pieces of me people got to know, and it wasn't that I was just not telling them my full self. I was trying to fix myself. And don't get me wrong, like, I've made mistakes, and I'm not saying I haven't made mistakes, but I've been surrounded by people since my mom passed away. And when she was alive, she taught me to be humble, and she taught me how to understand people, and she taught me how to realize, that people are hurting, and she helped me realize, why, like, to kind of, like, take a walk in their shoes, I guess, is probably the best way. And, when she passed away, I was 9 years old. And as a 9 years old, that is perfect. That like, for me, growing up, like, that is exactly what I needed. I needed that. Because when she passed away, I had 9 years of learning compassion and forgiveness and to be polite. And I mean, I was also a child, so I wasn't perfect, but it was those lessons that I really took forward with me. And it lasted for quite a while. I think I was just in such shock from the time she passed away up until I got adopted. I think it was just so chaotic that I didn't even get a time to think. It was me and my sister, and so I had to protect her too, and just, so when we got adopted, that's when I met real darkness, real evil. The best way to describe my adoptive parents is sadly like a toxic relationship, I do remember, right in the beginning, like, just feeling like something wasn't right and saying I wanted to call the social worker, and my adoptive mother handing me the phone and basically saying something along the lines of, they're not gonna believe you, or something like that. And she was right. She was right. Because now looking back, she was right. The social worker that I was calling had basically been working with them before we got adopted, and we came from Penticton, out to Surrey, and I don't know if you're familiar with those two towns, but that's a really big change. That is a massive change. That's 4 hours drive, and we had no one out here. We had no relatives out here in Surrey. There was no one that we felt safe enough to talk to. At least me. I can only speak for myself. It was in that house, and it was when I was moved from just everything, that it literally felt like I had been taken and dropped off in another country with, like, two people that were, like, and just, like, there was, like, I was 10 turning 11 when we got adopted as well. So you also have to then take into consideration, like, the amount of time span that's gone on from witnessing my mother pass away right in front of me, and then feeling the guilt and the shame because I was too terrified. I went to the front door, and I opened it, and it was dark outside, and I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. You know, for many years, I thought to myself, well, all you had to do was go next door. You know, literally right next door, and knock on the door, and, you know, and I didn't, you know, I didn't. At that age, at 9 years old, what I did is I went and I closed the door, and I tried to call 911, you know, I could smell vomit everywhere, you know, her eyes had gone back in her head, and, like, she was convulsing, she started choking, and on her vomit, and just, like, she, you know, like, I don't know if you've ever witnessed that happen, but, you know, and then I went up to grab her hand, because I was gonna try to pull her off the chair, and, she fell forward, and, oh, no, did she? I don't know if she I don't know. I know that her wrist cracked, and I thought I cracked her wrist, and so what I did is I went into the kitchen, and I got, like, one of our little cups, and I filled it with chocolate syrup and marshmallows, because I thought the sugar would make me stay up, and I went upstairs to my sister's bedroom, and I think I just didn't want to be alone down there, you know, sitting next to her body all night. But my sister wanted to sleep, and so I went back downstairs, and I sat next to my mom, and I watched Disney movies. I'm not sure which ones. And then in the morning, apparently I got my sister ready and took her next door, and to the neighbor's house, and I just remember telling her there's something wrong with my mom, and she brought us back to the house, and she told us to wait outside, and she went inside, and she came out with the same house phone that I had in my hands the night before, except for she knew the number, and so it just, it really sticks with you, you know, and that feeling of guilt that you couldn't save someone, and then just, like, with the evening of the 20th, just 2 days ago, and choking the way she choked, you know, it fucks with you so much. Like, it's inexplainable what the last 2 days has done for me. Like, there's been some moments that have been so shattering, they're almost healing, you know? Like, it's so traumatizing for me to, like, even conceptualize in my mind that if I couldn't catch a breath, I was gonna die just like my mom did. And it scared me. I mean, I'm normally so accepting when it comes to death now, but just something about just the way it was so similar, just, I don't know, I swear it almost broke me. I don't know, I just, like, I remember, like, I finally was actually able to, like, when I was first starting to actually breathe again, because even though before I choked, I was still coughing from a bunch of weed pieces in my lungs, so I wasn't even able to get like a full breath of air because there was like obstruction in my lungs, like, and my lungs were like, you know, producing mucus and trying to cough to push it out. So like I was having a hard time breathing before I actually like was choking on a piece of vomit, and then I just remember like the vomiting slowed down. My face was so swollen. I was so dizzy, but all of a sudden, like, I just started to be able to catch my breath again, and I just heard myself say out loud, like, oh my god, I'm breathing, or I can breathe, or something like that. And then my brain just instantly, like, made the connection, and I was like, but I survived, you know. And at first, like, it's like so just like so shocking. I think I'm still in shock, and you know, that's why I'm kind of happy I can talk about it now, because I really want to put this out there. You know, it's been an overwhelming and scary and frightening and chaotic experience, but it's also been the most healing, releasing, rejuvenating experience. I mean, it's so hard to explain, but it's just like I feel my heart again. I feel it in my chest. Like, I actually feel it. I didn't realize that the reason I couldn't feel my heart was just because my heart was locked up in 2006. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you for listening.